Hey, virtual motorsport fans, it's Tuesday night. We've got Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series action coming at you right after our little intro. Kick the tires and light the fires. Season 27 of the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series is underway. Story here in race number 2 is that you could have taken essentially what was the final results from race number 1, flipped them on their head, and that's what we've got here. Slow motion fire, T-Phrase battling it out in second and third, and we've never said that before. Across the line they go, side by side. And my apologies, didn't mean to blare or blow out your eardrums there with that introduction. Welcome, Shadow Edge Media here live on Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore, and yes, we are getting ready for week number 2. And as I posted on Twitter, making your Tuesday better, one lap at a time. And that's exactly what we're going to do here for you tonight as we roll into that week number 2 of season 27 here on the 1965 Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint GTA Stradale. It's already been a good week or a good season for FM4, and here we are rolling into week number 2, and it's after tonight that we'll start to see where does that drop week come into play for some of these drivers. We had 15 drivers who were in contention for the points early on in week number 1. If you are watching right now, you're interested in joining, you can still join these guys. Granted, you'll have 8 minutes to get everything going here, but anybody who joins here in week number 2 is still in the running for the championship overall in season 27 as they drop that week. Well, they drop your worst week, no matter if it's week number 1, week number 5, or 3, or 4, or 2. Whichever one it is that you score the least amount of points in, they drop that off, and then obviously the driver with the most points overall at the end of the season is the champion. And we're coming off a season there with season number 26 in the Formula Mazda, in which SVR Salty Boncos came away as the champion and opted to go for this Alfa Romeo GTA Stradale, the 1965 version. And with that comes a little bit less horsepower. D400 is the performance index for the vehicles. And as we were out in week number 1 at Suzuka and in Prague, we were on those shorter tracks. That'll be the case here this evening as well for week number 2. Heading out first to Long Beach, just the east route for 30 laps. That's a 1.34 mile circuit. And then Yas Marina, the south circuit at night. That's where we're heading. And I tell you what, man, Slaps Bella, who has never won a championship in the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series, has put the onus on everybody else to take him down. He won both the races handedly in week number 1, both out there at Suzuka and at Prague. And so now he leaves it up to everybody else to prove him wrong that he is not going to win it this year. And we'll see if he's able to make that happen. And as I go to the driver's spotlight, we'd already have somebody in there wanting to chat it up. It's T-Phrase 74. And we see him already in the lobby. He's got that Oral-B 65 Giulia Sprint Stradale. T-Phrase, how are you doing today?
Big Tom Tooth guys, doing good, bud.
Big Tom Tooth. Tell us a little bit about that. I saw that there on the Discord.
Yeah, well, so apparently Slaps sent slow motion of fire or a message. And was like, hey, you should change his name to Big Time Tooth Guy. And so apparently that's the quote of the series, and my name is now Big Time Tooth Guy.
Big Time Tooth Guy, T-Phrase. We're talking to him here in the driver's spotlight, getting ready for race number 3 of season 27, the first race here tonight. T-Phrase, you put us on notice saying, hey, week number 3 out at Silverstone is going to be a fantastic race. But what are you expecting here tonight out at Long Beach and then Yas Marina?
Well, I, as a young man, when I was about 20, 21, you learn about something called premature, finish that sentence. And I've done that here because this week, these 2 tracks are going to be wild. We're running the top guys, about 7 of us are anywhere from 101.4 to about 102.5. So it should be pretty tight racing. And then at the next track, which is that one, Yas Marina,
Yas Marina. Yep.
it's going to be another close, tight racing. Everybody's looking about I don't know what slaps and CT are running at Yas, but the fastest we've laid down is 112s to 113.5s. So again, you're talking about a second between the leaders in both races. So should be good fun.
Should be good fun. And here at Long Beach first, the East route, about as close to an oval as you'll get here in this season 27 with the Alfa Romeo Giulia, using just the East route. That doesn't mean that it takes any bit of the complexity out of the track. So as you were preparing for the week, was there anything that you noticed in particular with this car and track combination that you kind of had to take into consideration, maybe more so than Prague and Suzuka?
Yeah, so because they're so short, both of them, I'm actually running 4-gear setup thanks to Fear. He kind of explained to me how he ran it, and then I kind of changed it just to air off what he had. And then I kind of changed up my tune a little bit. That was different from last week. I won't be sliding as much coming out. I'll be sliding more going into the corner. So it'll be kind of a pitch it in hard and then power out. And it'll be, like I said, it's going to be a fun. We've had lots of fun. Last night, I think there was about 6 of us, and I bet we ran both these tracks probably 4 or 5 times a piece and had fun doing it the whole time. So it's going to be fun racing.
Slow motion fire in the pit lane, giving you a hard time, saying T-Phrase ran all his quick times last night. Hey, so T-Phrase, and we saw it in the introduction, and we didn't have a chance to talk to you after the race, but they're out at Prague. You and Slow Motion Fire were in the running for second and third, respectively. Unfortunately, it looked like maybe the pressure got to you there toward the end, and Slow Motion Fire was able to take that position. I think he even dropped back a few more. Can you walk us through what that was like there in Prague, with you being up front and knowing how successful you were in that? What do you carry forward, or what do you take away from that race to make you better here tonight?
Just experience. It's kind of like that kid who'd never been in the finals before, and hey, guess what? You're thrust upon it, and so you don't usually expect to win that first race, or at least finish in the podium the first time you're there. And I wanted to, obviously, but I didn't expect it with some of the fast guys behind me and so much time to catch up. I just wanted to say, well, if I can beat slow, then I can at least most likely finish on the podium. But unfortunately, I made a few mistakes and I just couldn't catch him. Also, now looking back, I had my setup a little wrong. This week will be a different ball game. Slow can keep talking junk, but don't be surprised if you see Slow Motion behind me this week.
I like it. I like the smack talk, the camaraderie here in the FM4 Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series, getting ready to go out to the Long Beach circuit for the initial round of qualifying here before our first race. T-Phrase, good chatting with you, and best of luck out there.
No problem. Thanks, and prayers to everybody at UNC Charlotte. Safe, but I hope everybody else is, and hopefully they get the guy who did this, because that's just dumb.
Absolutely. All the craziness that happens in the world, it really makes things like playing video games, what we do here a couple of times a week, seem absolutely meaningless. But the reality of it is, if we can bring a little bit of entertainment, some laughter, some fun to your lives in situations that are not so fun and not so worth remembering, then hopefully we're able to do that here for at least an hour, 2 hours of your time this evening. And for everybody who's tuned in here, Shadow Edge Media live on Twitch TV, thank you all so much for doing that. We're getting ready to go out to the racetrack here. I'm going to go into spectate mode. It'll be 3 laps of qualifying out at the Long Beach East route, 1.34 miles. Here in Forza Motorsport 7, whether you have it for the Xbox One or the PC, if you'd like to race with these folks, no matter the fact that we're getting to the point here where you'll be out of the running for the championship. That said, if you want to get in and get some practice in now before you get ready to go into maybe season 28 and be in the running for the championship, well, no time like the present to hop in, get familiarized with these guys and gals out on the track, make yourself known. Get yourself a name here in Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series, and you never know what it just might lead to. So we're getting ready here. It looks like we've got 12 drivers on the grid. Again, we had 15 drivers who participated back there in week number 1. And there's a nice look at the Xbox application for you there as Forza Motorsport 7 minimizes itself. But here we go. Getting the word from Slow Motion Fire there in the chat. We are counting down. For those of you who are eagle-eyed and noticed a few errors in last week's ticker, we've got those all resolved, I believe. And so we should be good with all the information down below, keeping you abreast of what's happening here throughout week number 2, what's ahead for week number 3, and then, of course, anything else, the specifications of the vehicle. We'll talk about them here in just a little bit. First off the line is going to be none other than Weiss Lancelot. Weiss Lancelot can be the first off the grid to try to set a quick time. 3 qualifying laps. Obviously, the first being a standing start means that it may very well not be your fastest lap. The thing that these drivers do have working for them here is that you don't necessarily have any off-track areas. However, you tap the wall, you're going to dirty your lap. So if you can stay off the wall, you're likely to be posting a clean time. Of course, the slowest clean time is always faster than the fastest dirtied lap. So do know that as you come out here and do some qualification with these guys. Try to keep it clean, set a good time, get yourself a nice spot on the grid, and show up in the race. And even if you didn't have the best of qualifying, make your way up through the pack. What's up there? Minimalist 1981. Minimalist, welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for being here. Tesaurus, thank you for the follow earlier on. And for everybody, if you enjoy the action that you get here tonight on Tuesday Night Racing, live on Shadow Edge Media, please click that follow button. Lets me know as the broadcaster that you are enjoying your time here. And for those of you who can go above and beyond and give back a little bit more to the broadcast, a monetary contribution in the form of a subscription, or with your free Twitch Prime token, you can certainly do that as well. All of that will be greatly appreciated and goes back into the production value of our broadcast. And there we go, watching Weiss Lancelot, who's now fallen back to 8th position, make that 9th in terms of quick time. Slaps Vela, wouldn't you know, who just completely dominated the field last week, has the quickest time out there right now. It's going to be on Cratrian, Darkser to show up big and make something happen. Try to take down Slaps Vela, put him in check, make him feel like he's going to have to work for it, because after what we saw last week at Suzuka and Prague, the guy was on a Sunday drive all on his lonesome. And across the line is going to go Slaps Vela, that Baby Bell 1965 Alfa Romeo GTA Stradale Giulia. And he's got T-Phrase out in front of him. T-Phrase, it looks like, has the second fastest lap. CMD Slipstream in 3rd, Cratrim in 4th, 5th, Demos, Slow Motion Fire, 6th, Disco Joint in 7th. We didn't see Disco Joint last week. Great to see him back out on the track. D-Fire, 999, Feared Fun. Weiss Lancelot, gotta go fast. Futang out there on the circuit, making the rounds here for the last qualifying lap before we do 30 out here at the Long Beach East Circuit. Minimalist with the peace sign, dude, with the goggles. That's hold on, let me hover over. That's Future Man. Yeah, I like, the name was there. I just couldn't say it without seeing it. I couldn't get it to roll off the tongue. Oh, and Demos is gonna get a little bit squirrely coming out of the hairpin back toward the start-finish line. So that'll be a dirty lap, and this will be the clean one for a good chunk of drivers, but it's still going to be Slaps Vela with a 101.4. The Long Beach Circuit, first making its appearance in the Forza Motorsport franchise, back in Forza Motorsport 5, I believe it was, as downloadable content, and has been in the base game ever since. One of the more feared tracks for those of you who frequent the multiplayer hoppers versus the private lobbies. Obviously, in the private lobby where there's a little bit more organization, the chaos is a bit more controlled, fortunately. And we take a look at the order here, and mind you, as always, I hate that I have to repeat myself here, but do not mind the position off to the left-hand side. That is purely grading drivers by the amount of time that they spend out on the track qualifying. But what we're really looking for is the best lap, and we go down there to Slapsvella, who shows in fourth at a 101.4, and that'll be the quickest time, followed by Disco Joint looks to have this, make that crate rim with a 101.8. And then we got to go up to T-Phrase with a 102.2. Disco Joint by 0.5 of a second behind T-Phrase at a 102.7. And as you continue to look through the roster, you can kind of make out what the grid's going to look like. And we'll see if there's any other drivers in our driver's spotlight who would like to chat before we get this race started. For those of you, again, who were here from the start of the broadcast, saw our introduction there, a little bit of a summary. But that's basically what was the storyline of week number 1, is that out at Suzuka, we kind of got the race that we expected, although Slapsvella being as dominant as he was very much a surprise. But everybody else pretty much fell where they normally fall in these FM4 races. Now, when it came to Prague, an entirely different story. As I mentioned in that intro, if you flip the script or you flip the standings, the results from race number 1, that's what you got for race number 2, with T-Phrase and Slow Motion Fire battling it out for second and third for so long before T-Phrase unfortunately fell back 2 positions. That was all a result of Dark Sir, who coming out of the hairpin turn 1 there at Prague on the reverse circuit, found himself into the wall, and that took him out of the running for second. Able to make a decent run out of that race, but surely, when he's trying to take down Slapsvella, or at least try to keep up with Slapsvella in terms of the points, he needed all the help that he could get there. Ether in Hunt with the 100 bits.
Shake and bake! Does that feel good? Yeah.
With the shake and bake, 100 bits. Thank you very, very much there, Ether in Hunt. And good to see you back here on the channel, and enjoy your cone, your vibrant orange cone there. A Twitch bit emoji or badge, I suppose, is what you get. And I don't see any other drivers in the driver's spotlight. Perhaps we'll get some after the fact, but right now they're getting ready, maybe perhaps making a few last-minute adjustments to their car. Let's go ahead and take one last look here at the standings entering week number 2, just to give you a recap of where things are. Slapsvella, 100 points. Obviously not going to be his drop week unless he happens to win out the entire series or season. But if that's the case, then we might as well just chalk him up as the champion already. But 100 points for Slapsvella. It's the most you can get in 1 week. Kratrium there with 92. Darkser, who I mentioned, could have used a better finish out there at Prague, finished overall 3rd in week number 1 with 83. Then it's T-Phrase, who had a magnificent run there. 77 points. Slow Motion Fire with 75. Slipstream with 66. Weiss Lancelot ties that number. Then it's Fear the Fun with 65. Foontaine with 64. Then you got 3 who are there at 56. Presto's Besto, Gotta Go Fast, Modern Weapon, Born as Ghost over on the opposite side with D-Fire and Demos. Looks like the race organizers are getting things ready to go, so here we go. It's Tuesday Night Racing, Shadow Edge Media, live on Twitch TV. And the cars are unglued from the start line. Kick the tires and light those fires, boys and girls. It's racing here. Already out the chute and around that long first corner, that right-hander before you hit a sharper right-hander here on the East Circuit at Long Beach. And of course, Slapsvella, who had the pole position, is already off to a magnificent start. Look behind him. He's got Kratrium there in second position. Heading into the next right-hander, it's just going to be a whole slew of left-handers until you get up here to the infield over by the aquarium. Then you'll make 2 left-handers before you hit the hairpin and back toward the start-finish line. Across the camera they go. Disco Joint again making an appearance here in season 27 after having missed week number 1. Back there in 4th. T-Phrase in 3rd. And T-Phrase talking to us about that race out at Prague where he was in contention for 2nd place. Unfortunately, just inexperience brought him out of the running and had him falling back as far as, I think, 4th or maybe even 5th position. But now currently running in 3rd, saying that he felt good about his setup, made some adjustments out of week 1. And here comes Craytrim. He's going to have to really, really make a run at Slapsvilla. Somebody is going to have to put this guy in check. Back underneath the bridge they go. Lap number 1 is in the books. Start of lap number 2. Through that right-hander on the city streets out here at Long Beach. And Slapsvilla lining it up. You got to be careful. You got those tires off into the left-hand side. You catch those ever so slightly, it is going to spin your car around. And when that happens, when you've got another 10 vehicles back behind you, it's not going to be good. You'll have damage to that vehicle. You'll find yourself in pit lane and a pit stop here in just a 30 lap race on a track that is only a mile and 34 long. Oh, and actually, speaking of getting spun around, it looks like maybe Fear the Fun, was it? I do not believe it was Fear the Fun in that Jägermeister Alfa Romeo. And there goes Slipstream in the blue light special, the Kmart car. And look at them, they're all peeling out. Getting those back ends of the 65 Alpha all wacky. And now having to regain control as they go across the line for the start of lap number 3. Riding on board here with Craytrim, who's fallen behind T-Phrase. T-Phrase said he felt good about his setup. The man wasn't lying. Having one heck of a run here. D400 is the performance index here at Forza Motorsport 7. And in case you're not already aware of what that is, it's the output of an algorithm that tells you how well these cars perform, not only in their handling, but also in their acceleration, top speed, braking, cornering. And you come up with D400, well, that's on the low end of the spectrum. Only 155 horsepower here, 128 foot-pounds of torque, 1,448 pounds of curb weight. Here through the hairpin, once again, there goes Craytrim looking to the inside of T-Phrase. Nothing going to happen there. T-Phrase hard on the gas pedal, getting launched out of the hairpin, and he'll remain in 2nd position currently. Craytrim now looking to the inside line, but T-Phrase is going to go ahead and close that door with the sun gleaming overhead. T-Phrase a good, 1 or 2 car lengths, and then T-Phrase is hard on the brakes, but Craytrim late on the braking, and that's going to put him back a little bit. T-Phrase throwing some smoke out the back tires, and he's going to try to track down Slapsvilla, although Slapsvilla keeps pulling away lap after lap. But if T-Phrase can hold this up, this will be a fantastic finish for him, for somebody who hasn't really been in the conversation about podium finishes here in FM4, at least not in the last 4 seasons that we've been broadcasting it. Back behind Craytrim, it's Fear the Fun. Fotang in 5th, Slipstream in 6th. 7th is Slow Motion Fire, gotta go fast. Weiss Lancelot and Demos are 8, 9, and 10. 11th position, D-Fire, 999, Disco Joint all the way back there in 12th position. I think it was Disco Joint who actually got turned around coming out of the section by the aquarium and looking at his car. He's got that tab design, the livery on that 65 Alfa Romeo, and it is all beat up. So that very well could have been Disco Joint, especially since he is on the far end of the track, almost nearly going to get lapped here by Slapsvilla. And T-Phrase now through the right-hander, just up over the curbing, using as much of that inside line, trying to hit that apex and stay away from those tires. Up underneath the bridge, through the building section. And that Oral-B design looking pretty sharp. They call him Big Tooth T-Phrase now. It's an endearing term. Dustin Moore again with the call here. Tuesday Night Racing, Shadow Edge Media. Great to have you all tuned in. And yes, if you are enjoying the racing, please click that follow button. And illogical with the follow. Thank you, sir or ma'am. Let's see. Let's go back a little bit further as T-Phrase continues to hold on to 2nd here. Let's try to find our next battle. It's going to be back here with Slow Motion Fire and CMD Slipstream for 6th and 7th position. It's Slow, who's currently in 7th. Now looking to the right corner. He's got that Ducati design, trying to take down the Blue Light Special of Slipstream. Oh no, and there's the feared loading screen as they get ready, lined up for the right-hander. With these Alfa Romeos, you've got sport exhaust, race camshafts, race flywheel, race brakes, springs and dampers, front and rear anti-roll bars are of the race variety. Same goes for the chassis reinforcement roll cage, race weight reduction, sport clutch, sports transmission, race drive line, race differential. You've got 195, 65, 14-inch rims up front, 245, 50, 14-inch rims in the back, and those rims are Speedline F1s. You've got their front and rear bumpers removed, and that's your configuration. You can do any tuning that you'd like to the car. Those upgrades are set in stone. That's what takes you up to D400 and that 155 horsepower. Let's go back up to second position, where Cratrim has now taken it from T-Phrase, and perhaps maybe a little bit of that inexperience coming out of T-Phrase. Cratrim was pushing it hard, and he knows that if he's going to try to keep pace with Slaps Vela, he can't be dealing with the likes of T-Phrase. He had to get around. Well, we saw that late braking earlier on there in turn 2, heading toward the infield area of the track, and that sent him out wide, but he has now regrouped and has gotten around T-Phrase, now through the hairpin. Back up toward the start-finish line and sliding it out ever so slightly. No tire smoke, but getting very, very close to the wall. And now underneath the Toyota bridge, and this will all change assuming this track makes its appearance in the next Forza Motorsport title, because the naming rights to Long Beach have now changed, and I can't for the life of me remember who it is. It's either, I don't know if it's Infiniti or Lexus, but it is no longer Toyota. And we'll see if that change, or if the track makes an appearance in the next Forza Motorsport title. What is going to be the next Forza Motorsport title? Nobody here can tell you. You tune into the Forza stream here on Twitch or over on Mixer this coming Tuesday, May the 7th. May the 7th is the next Forza Monthly, and Dan Greenewald, the creative director at Turn 10 Studios, will be on to talk about, or at least give a few hints. We're not expecting to have a full-on reveal, but a few hints at what that next Forza Motorsport title is going to be. Looking a little bit further back, it's going to be, well, a loading screen, unfortunately, and we are down to 11 drivers. I do believe we had at least 12 or even 13 out there on the track. But up in front, it's still Slaps Vela being as dominant as ever. Second is Cratrim, T-Phrase in third, Fear the Fun in fourth. Fifth is Foontang, Slipstream in sixth, and seventh is Slow Motion Fire. That's the battle we're watching right now. Eighth is Weiss Lancelot. Demo's back there in ninth. 10th is D-Fire and Disco Joint, again, who's having an abysmal race and probably saying, man, my return here to FM4 is not treating me right. Back there in 11th. And Slaps Vela closing in to possibly put Disco a lap down. If you're watching, you have any thoughts about the race, or maybe you just want to say hello, please do that. I love to engage with the viewers here and not just have myself talking to myself. I know you all are just doing it through text there in the pit lane, otherwise known as the Twitch chat elsewhere in the community, but let's please get that interaction going. I would love that. Greatly appreciate that. Maybe give us your predictions of when, if ever, will Slaps Vela lose a race. Going to go back up to Cratrim here in second position. T-Phrase was back by only, I don't know, 3 or 4 car lengths, but now has dropped off significantly and is going to leave the door open now to Fear the Fun to try to catch up. Let's go back to Fear the Fun. We'll put the camera on that Jägermeister Alfa Romeo, and let's actually go ahead and hop on board with Fear the Fun and get a look at Long Beach from his perspective. Illogical says, awesome look at this as a sport. What's up there, Enzo? Enzo for the win. I like the name. I had to figure out all the leet speak there, but I've got it, I think. Enzo for the win, and Illogical with the 777 or the 777s in there. I'm getting this. I got this figured out. But yeah, awesome look at the sport. Hey, I appreciate those kind words. We're doing our best here to bring to light maybe not necessarily the pros of the Forza Motorsport world, although Slaps Vela arguably could be in that conversation. However, we've got great racing here, and anybody who's looking for a reprieve from perhaps maybe a not-so-exciting Tuesday day or afternoon or even evening, well, you've come to the right place here on Shadow Edge Media. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Week number 2, we'll have week number 3 next week, obviously, and that'll include Catalunya at the school circuit, so no pit lane there. That means the vehicle damage will be turned off for that one, and Silverstone, the Grand Prix circuit, which T-Phrase told us, look out, because during testing and tuning, these drivers apparently had a field day out at that track. Hop off and Fear the Fun here. Let's go back to trying to find a battle. Let's go all the way back to Demos, who's there in 9th position, trying to track down 8th of Weiss Lancelot as they go screaming past the camera here on the backside of Long Beach. Illogical saying old gamer tag. Illogical is? What's your new one? And of course, those of you who are watching this race, if you want to participate, again, all you have to do is go over to reddit.com/r/FM4. As a matter of fact, I can go ahead and drop that link in here for you. And you can participate. All they ask is that you race clean. You don't race clean, they give you the boot and you can never come back. But if you do race clean, you can get through the remainder of Season 27 here in the Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint GTA Stradale. But whoever the champion is here in week number 27 will then dictate what vehicle is raced in Season number 28. Get some time in, out of the track, get familiar with these drivers, and then maybe make a run for it in Season number 28. Slaps Vela now really pouring it on, almost half the track length away from second place, who's Cratrium. T-Phrase is back there in 3rd. Foontang has moved all the way up to 4th position now. Slipstream in 5th, Slow Motion Fire in 6th, Weiss, Lancelot, and Demos, which means we've lost, well, Fear the Fun, we didn't lose him, but he is now in 9th position. So something has really gone wrong with Fear the Fun, and as a matter of fact, it looks like that vehicle is beat up. Let's go ahead and take a look at that damage. It most certainly is. Look at that front arrow, and then the brakes and the suspension there on the right-hand side. So Fear the Fun, who was running in 4th, now finds himself all the way back in 9th, and it's going to be a long walk back to pit lane. Back to 2nd with Cratram, who is starting to lose, if not already has lost. T-Phrase in the rear view mirror. T-Phrase looking to come out with a podium win if he can hold on to 3rd. That's going to be a tough challenge. He's got Foontang, who is starting to creep his way up as we near the halfway point in this race. 16 laps to go. Back to CMB, Slipstream, and Slow Motion Fire. 5th and 6th position. Closest battle out there on the track. And let's see, here we go for the right-handers. Slow Motion Fire seems to be a little bit stronger through this section than Slipstream is. We'll see maybe where Slipstream is best, where obviously he's been able to stay out in front of Slow Motion Fire for the majority of this race. So maybe turn 2, not his strong suit, but everywhere else on it. They come up to the right-hander. Just got to get on the brake a little bit, although you see those discs glowing up front. Just enough braking to generate a good deal of heat and light up the discs, but carry through that corner pretty quickly. It's right there at that hairpin that you've got to slow down, but that hairpin is quite possibly the game changer out here on the track, because sure, you may set up the entry really, really well, but it's how you come out of that turn that means all the difference. It sets you up for excellent momentum, that motive energy down the straightaway back toward the start-finish line to give yourself a good run on your competitor, because then it's the whole it's half the track there with that little curved bit past the start-finish line before you hit the right-hander here on the east circuit at Long Beach. Not doing the full circuit, just the east side, 1.34 miles. And now, well, I thought T-Phrase was maybe having to hold off Funtang, but that's actually lap traffic behind T-Phrase. So T-Phrase now far and away from third, well, far and away from fourth. He is in third, and Cratrium he's losing Cratrium. But that's okay. Enzo for the win says, so is this going to be weird? So this is going to be weird, but one of the competitors is my father, and I want to say thank you. He hasn't really been in video games for a while, and this has helped him a lot. He loves doing this, and he doesn't have to work. He doesn't have to work to do. He hope. Oh my gosh, hold on. Sorry, I'm messing this up. I know there's a couple of issues here, but it's me who's butchering this. He doesn't have the Xbox. You don't have the Xbox Live, but you love seeing how happy he is. By the way, that D-Fire, I may or may not have made that name myself, and he has no idea how to change it. Gotcha. Well, so okay, so we've talked to D-Fire here in the driver's spotlight, and good stuff. Enzo for the win, getting his father interested in virtual motorsport. I love it. Thank you for sharing that story. It's not weird at all. That's a great little bit of information, a nice little story to share here as we watch our drivers get around Long Beach. And for that, let's go back to D-Fire, who is running back there in 9th position appropriately. He's got 3 9s in the name and running in 9th and doesn't know how to change his gamer tag, says Enzo for the win. And there's D-Fire coming down the straightaway, hooks the right-hander, looking good. He's got that, he too has the tab design. And Lucky Strike. The drivers every single season, they're prompted to have a theme for their vehicles. Last season it was fictional businesses. This season it is real-world businesses, and being that this is a 65 Alfa Romeo, a lot of the drivers went for the more the businesses of the era. And of course Tab, very much one of those. But again, yes, Enzo for the win. Thank you very much for sharing that story. That's fantastic. And perhaps we'll have a word with D-Fire here at the end of this race, or maybe at the end of tonight's festivities. Because after this race here at Long Beach, heading out to Yas Marina, the South Circuit at night for 25 laps around that 1.47 mile circuit. So more racing to come here. Shadow Edge Media. We've got a good grouping of cars. It's T-Phrase, though, who's sandwiched in between. Not on the same lap as these two drivers, trying to make his way through, and it's D-Fire and back behind him, Fear the Fun, who has now gone into pit lane and has everything patched up and trying to make his way back up through the field so he can get some, at least recover some of the points. And oh no, there's Fear the Fun. Actually, T-Phrase giving D-Fire a little bit of a love tap, and now D-Fire gets to return the favor, but it's all good coming out of the hairpin. And there goes T-Phrase cruising away. Fear the Fun keeping pace, trying to get his lap back at least from T-Phrase. Let's go ahead and look for our battles out here. We've got T-Phrase in third, Funtang in fourth. Let's go back to Slipstream and Slow Motion Fire. Slow Motion Fire just unable to find a way around with that Ducati livery Alfa Romeo. That Kmart elusive. The Kmart designed Alfa of Slipstream. I call it the Blue Light Special. Running a pretty good pace, not allowing Slow Motion Fire to get by. As a matter of fact, this is the furthest back that we've seen Slow Motion Fire to Slipstream. I was successful the first time. We had a few folks speak up. So again, if you're just now tuning in, Shadow Edge Media here live on Twitch TV, please drop a hello or something in the chat. We want to really get the viewer interaction going here in this broadcast. So please drop us a line there in the pit lane, even if it's just a hello. But if you want to elaborate a little bit more on your pick to win, who's going to win the championship here in F4 Season 27, or maybe you've got some thoughts on Forza Motorsport 7 or the future of the franchise, by all means, let us know. Ether and Hunt says, how are the tracks picked? I was sad to see one of the fictitious tracks last week. I understand the shortened L leaderboard Grand Prix track is not a real layout too, or this Long Beach Grand Prix track is not a real layout, but it does a lot better job of suspending disbelief than the almost Mario Kart feel that some of the totally made up tracks are like, Ether and Hunt. The tracks are actually, the track list is created for each season by the drivers, and what happens is at the conclusion of a season, when the champion driver, the driver who wins the season, picks the car, that champion then tells Slow Motion Fire, who is the organizer of the event, what car it is. Slow Motion Fire then takes very obscure photos of that vehicle and allows everybody to guess what the vehicle is. Those who guess correctly then get to pick one of the tracks for the next season. So that's how the track list is devised. They do run the fictional circuits. As a matter of fact, although week number 3, well, even today's race is out at Long Beach and Yas Marina, very much real world environments. Maybe not all the circuits in their entirety, but then out at in week number 3, we'll be out at Catalunya and Silverstone. It's not until we return in week number 4 to the test track airfield that we return to fictional layouts, but then we'll have Hockenheimring to complement that, concluding the season in week number 5 with a nice 45 lapper out there at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. We're watching Slow Motion Fire trying to track down CMD Slipstream, perhaps the closest we've seen him at this point, and Slow Motion Fire looking to the outside, looking to really line up that corner. Slipstream perhaps running the inside line just to block Slow Motion, and it worked at least there. Now they head back toward the hairpin, and here comes Slow Motion Fire to the outside. Slipstream really hugging the barrier to the inside. He's going to have the best advantage coming out back toward the start-finish line, and so far it's going to be in Slipstream's hands, but if Slow Motion Fire can keep that pace up, he'll be in a good position. Enzo for the win, saying, "Oh my God, I see how you had a stroke on my first comment." It's okay, man. I'll sort through it as long as folks post. That's what really matters to me. I'll get through the translation bit. Don't you worry about that. You're also a driver, but I do feel I do it in the real world. I drive go-karts, not for a living. I did some go-karting league, and this kind of reminds me of that league. Enzo for the win, very much so. This is very much a pro-am type environment where you do have really, really skilled drivers. We don't see Darkser out there today, but Kratrium, Slaps Vela, we've had SVR Salty Bonkos. We've had a number of drivers who are pro level here, and then for the most part, everybody else falls into that either intermediate or amateur level. But that doesn't matter. FM4, the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series, is all about, regardless of your skill level, get out here and race with these guys on a Tuesday. What else do you have to do on a Tuesday evening? All the information, reddit.com/r/FM4. Across the line they go once again for the beginning of lap number 23. And would you look at that, 5th and 6th. They're having a great run, Slipstream and Slow Motion Fire is, but on the opposite end of the track is Slaps Vela, now coming out of the hairpin, getting ready to start lap number 24. Slaps Vela just that dominant here. And again, he has not yet won a championship here in FM4. Granted, that may be up to the fact that he hasn't been able to race all of the races in a season. We'll see if he's able to carry it through here in season 27 and finally grab himself a trophy here. And there we go. We continue to watch Slow Motion Fire right there on the backside of Slipstream, and this is the same approach every single time. Slow Motion Fire, he taps the wall, throws some sparks. That Ducati design just scraped up a little bit. Now to the outside, coming through the only left-hander. Actually, check that, make that the 2 left-handers that we have here on the East Circuit. Now he's going to run wide with Slipstream taking the inside line, and they'll remain 5th and 6th respectively. I was trying to say, if he does not have anything to do, he hops on Xbox Live. We've seen D-Fire running in several of the races here at FM4, and although he finds himself at the back of the pack, it doesn't matter. Somebody has to finish first. Somebody has to finish last. Get out here and run your own race. Have yourself a great time. And that's exactly what we've been seeing D-Fire do. And oh no, we've got T-Phrase, who spun around coming out of lap number 2, and he's parked up against the wall. Oh no, T-Phrase now all the way back to 6th position and damage all over that car. I don't know if he's going to be able to recover, and this is a devastating turn of events for that Oral B car, and T-Phrase running in 3rd. And again, I don't know if it's maybe just the excitement of being in a podium position, but we talked to T-Phrase before the race, and he said just the inexperience is what took him out of 2nd or 3rd out at Prague, and he's done it once again. Futang now up to 3rd position. Probably thanking T-Phrase in that Castrol. Alfa Romeo 65, Julia Sprint across the line he goes. Start of lap number 25. My oh my. T-Phrase has done it to himself again, and now we've got Slipstream and Slow Motion Fire again the closest battle that continues to wage on. They've got D-Fire, who has now moved up to 8th position. So let's go back up there to Slow Motion Fire, who now shows in 5th position, at least tentatively. Gets around D-Fire, and actually check that. That is Slow Motion Fire in 5th, Slipstream in 4th because of T-Phrase falling back through the pack. Oh, and there goes D-Fire into the wall, the tire wall, back there through turn 3 here on the East Circuit. One of the most dangerous turns out here at Long Beach on the East Circuit, the full circuit, no matter what. That one is, it can cause big time headaches, and it most certainly has here this evening. Here comes Slow Motion Fire once again, trying to get around his Slipstream. This has been one heck of a battle. A beaut, some might say. Chopper flying overhead. Fans watching from the grandstands here in the virtual world of Forza Motorsport 7. You can race in the FM4 with the Xbox One, the PC, on a wheel or on a controller, whichever you want to do. And they do allow some assist. Again, you want to check out all that information over there at reddit.com/r/FM4. That's where you want to go to get yourself locked in and ready. Come out here and race in week number 3, race week number 4, race the finale week number 5, and get yourself ready for season number 28. We'd love to see this grid filled up again. We've had a full grid here in FM4, and we very much can get there again. This week just happening to be one of the more quiet weeks. That's okay. That happens in the Forza community here now and again. Slow Motion Fire, they're good, I don't know, 2-3 seconds back behind Slipstream, a good 6 or 7 car lengths, trying to close that in and maybe try to make some last-minute heroics here around Slipstream to grab that 4th place position. Slapsvella continues to be our race leader. Let's go ahead and give our race leader a little bit of camera time. That Baby Bell car getting ready to cross the line, beginning of lap number 28. It is only a 30-lap race, even though it says 31 up in the upper left-hand corner. Don't mind that. That last lap will just be a celebratory one here for Slapsvella, assuming he can hold on to it. In 2nd position, Cratrium, who got around T-Phrase a little bit earlier on in the race. Futang is there in 3rd. 4th is Slipstream. 5th is Slow Motion Fire. 6th is Weiss Lancelot. And it's at Weiss Lancelot that you have the first driver off the lead lap. 7th position is D-Fire. Moving up is D-Fire. Demos is back there in 8th. T-Phrase, ooh, after that devastating crash, has gone into pit lane. Now finds himself in 9th position. Fear the Fun in 10th. And we have lost a few of our drivers here in this race. Hopefully we'll see them again in race number 2 of week number 2 out at Yas Marina, the South Circuit. 25 laps. There goes Slapsvella, looking very, very sharp, very tidy, coming through the hairpin. And beginning of lap number 29. 2 laps to go at this point. Let's go back to that battle. You know the one. CMD Slipstream. Slow Motion Fire heading into the right-hander. They've got lap traffic of Weiss Lancelot up ahead. Try to navigate him as cleanly as possible. Hook in the car through the right-hander, and here come the 2 left-handers here at the East Circuit, the East route. Through the hairpin they go, and it's just now that they'll be 2 laps out as Slapsvella gets ready to get the white flag next time by the flag stand. Slipstream gets up onto the wall, slowing them down just a little bit, allowing Slow Motion Fire to close that gap, and it's going to be Weiss Lancelot up ahead. It's going to make things interesting here. Let's see if Weiss Lancelot maybe just pulls it off to the side, allowing 4th and 5th to get around. That's not necessarily going to be the case. And unfortunately for Slow Motion Fire, Slipstream is able to get past, but Slow is going to have to wait to get through the corner. And maybe make a move here through the left-hander. Well, he's just going to have to sit back. See what happens through the hairpin as Weiss Lancelot gets a little bit there in the back rear quarter panel of Slipstream, and now Slow Motion Fire really off the pace. White flag flies. 1 lap to go as Slapsvella, the race leader, gets ready to come across for the conclusion of his race. 3 races in a row here in Season 27. Slapsvella, the domination continues. Final time past that tire wall. Slow Motion Fire just now able to get around Weiss Lancelot and that Jägermeister Alfa Romeo. Here comes Slow Motion Fire. Weiss gets up back behind him, maybe giving Slow a little bit of a push, a little bit more momentum. And through the right-hander, coming up to the last 2 left-handers in that penultimate turn with the hairpin. Is Slow Motion Fire going to have a chance? It doesn't look like it, although he gets very, very close. But it's going to be the Blue Light Special of Slipstream who's going to finish in 4th. Slow Motion Fire in 5th, and Slipstream giving a little bit of a wag of the tail, saying good race. Slow, and man, I can only imagine those two. Their fingers might be imprinted on their controller with that race. And that's how this one's going to conclude. Fear the Fun, we see they're in 10th position after having a much like T-Phrase, a devastating turn of events. First goes to Slap, second for Crate Trip, third is Funtang, Slipstream in 4th, Slow Motion Fire in 5th, as we just saw, Weiss Lancelot in 6th, Demos in 7th, D-Fire in 8th position, T-Phrase in 9th, Fear the Fun in 10th, and that's going to be it, folks. That's race number 1 in the books, and I kind of wish we could tell you a different story about who's winning this one, but man, Slapsvella, the man of many triangles, or at least that's where we usually see him, or how we usually see that car done up. But because of the theme here in the FM4 series, they do encourage you to stick with the theme, and Slapsvella has either happily or remorsefully obliged. Etherin Hunt with the 50 bits. Thank you very much, Etherin.
Shake and bake! Does that feel good? Yeah.
Shake and bake. Shake and bake. T-Phrase controller died. He almost threw it. Oh my gosh. So it wasn't even T-Phrase who was his own demise. It was his controller. Of course, you got to kind of plan for those things, but you just never know. The battery rating on the Xbox interface is just so unpredictable. Dino Dad Shadow TV has joined us here in the pit lane saying Slaps the man. I tell you what, Slaps showed up here in Season 27 clearly with an intent to just embarrass, or at the very least obliterate, the rest of the field. And I can only hope that maybe we'll see the likes of Dark Sir return to week number 3 to give him a run for the money, and maybe we'll see Craytrim be able to make something here out at Yas Marina happen. The South Circuit at night. That's what's coming up. 25 laps, 1.47 miles here in FM4, the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series. Kick the tires and light the fires. Season 27 of the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series is underway. Story here in race number 2 is that you could have taken essentially what was the final results from race number 1, flipped them on their head, and that's what we've got here. Slow Motion Fire, T-Phrase battling out in second and third, and we've never said that before. Across the line they go, side by side. Aw, yeah, there you go. There's our race results. Slapsvella in first position with that 101.0 best lap. That even tops his qualifying time. So Slapsvella was essentially putting down hot laps in that one. Craytrim back there in second, Funtang third, Slipstream in fourth, Slow Motion Fire in fifth, and you see the rest of the way on down. Let's go ahead and pull Demos in from our driver spotlight, finishing 7th back there behind Weiss Lancelot and T-Phrase. Demos, not a bad finish there, all things considered.
All things considered, yeah. After biting the wall, things did not end up quite right. I'll issue a preliminary quick correction there. I should have finished in eighth. I actually accidentally ran an extra lap there at the end, so D-Fire actually finished ahead of me by one.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Finishing in eighth, and was that early on in the race? I'm trying to recall where we might have seen you spun around, but was that early on where you had some issues?
No, it was mid race. Actually, Weiss Lancelot and I were having a great race, and I overcorrected and trying to make a pass when he made a little mistake, and his little mistake and my attempt at opportunism turned into a bit wall and a damaged car.
Talking to demos here in the driver's spotlight. Long time no chat with you, man.
Yeah, I haven't visited with you yet this season, so I figured I'd better at least do one cameo.
There you go. What do you think of the Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint, the 1965 model here?
Man, this thing was something else to tune, but honest to God, once you get it to where it wants to be, which is basically with no roll bars working at all and some really, modest springs, this thing will get up and go, and it turns out it's really not a bad car in a D-Class lobby once you've got it sorted out and handling the way you want it to.
Finishing eighth there behind, what'd you say, D-Fire, or was it T-Phrase?
D-Fire, yeah, I should have been one behind him.
Yeah, so we've got the leaderboard all bungled up here on our screen, but that's okay. The officials will sort it out. Looking at your time, you pulled out a 102.9, very respectable run there compared to Slapsvella's 101.0, and of course he was just, as we've seen in the first two races and now here in the third, just dominating the race. What do you make of somebody who's able to take this car and do what he's done thus far?
I have watched guys like Slaps and Cratrium in their rivals' replays and watched what they're doing. And honest to God, I just cannot make what the car is doing make sense to me in something that I can translate into my wheel. It is, honest to God, amazing. And, the term alien floats around, and It applies very much to those two. They are just in a class of their own, but they're a hell of a lot of fun to race with.
Yeah, I was going to say aliens in their own right for sure. They show up out here and they seem to be able to do things that nobody could possibly do except for themselves. Hey, Demos, great chatting with you once again. You're going to have to do this again. We don't want to wait until season 28 to chat with you.
I'll be back and we'll talk more. Thanks so much for the interview, and you have a great night. And thanks for the commentary.
You bet, and best of luck to you out there at Yas Marina, getting ready for qualifying. 3 laps out there at the 1.47 mile circuit underneath the lights. Yeah, underneath the lights out at Yas Marina, and that's the way that you want to do it because, man, I imagine in the daytime it is quite hot out here. And so to be rolling into the nighttime hours, probably a bit cooler, although this is the virtual world of motorsports, so temperature is really irrelevant for this one. We've got the field is starting to populate. We've got 12, make that 11 drivers who are in the lobby. And I look back over to the queue for interview, and sure enough, we've got another driver, Fear the Fun, showing up with us here in the driver's spotlight. Fear the Fun, we saw things go awry for you there in the first race. Talk to us about it.
I don't really want to talk about it.
You know, when you join into that queue for interview section, you know what you're setting yourself up for.
I got a little bit of the rumble strip on turn one. It spun me into the inside wall, and I just killed about everything about my car that was any kind of good.
And we're chatting here with Fear the Fun out on the track. You entered week number 2 here. As I look back at the leaderboard, you entered at 8th position at 65 points, right there behind Weiss Lancelot. So you got a little bit of making up to do, or unless this happens to be your drop week. But what do you make of Yas Marina? Are you going to be able to turn things around here?
Well, the good thing is there's no walls to jump out and catch me.
It's true.
So I don't think I'm going to be as catastrophically bad. But knowing me, it's probably going to be catastrophically bad.
Yeah. Well, and you just never know. I mean, you get out to a track like Long Beach where it's a little bit claustrophobic, and there's all that concrete wall around you, and just when you feel like you're in the zone or in the groove, one of those things seemingly jumps out at you. But yes, out of here at Yas Marina, a whole different story. You talked about the rumble strip, though, and you'll have some rumble strips here at Yas Marina, which makes things a little bit tricky. And just ever so slightly a change in elevation. So any change in the tuning for this car, or are you bringing over the same setup that you had out there at Long Beach?
It's going to be a little bit softer, just a little bit. Take out some spring, add a little bit of bump stiffness, so much so it doesn't bounce the car up if you hit a rumble strip, but not so much that if like you're just rolling over it and your tires aren't really touching the ground either.
Yeah, I absolutely. And Fear the Fun, like we said, you had a good run going there before the incident. We're seeing spectacular driving from T-Phrase and Slow Motion Fire. Those guys seem to be quite evenly matched, or at least at the same level as you here in these Alfa Romeos. So a good bit of action in the mid-pack area. Obviously, with Slaps Vela taking off, it's going to be scrapping for points here. You're going to be fighting big time.
Oh, I got to call my way back up. I'm coming to the back of the pack after last week at
Prague and Suzuka?
At Prague. At Suzuka, I finished okay. At Prague, I did terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe this is just a reverse. I did terrible the first race. I'll do okay the second race and move on from there.
Good deal. We'll hope for the same for you. Getting ready for qualifying. So I'll throw you back, and best of luck to you here at Yas.
Thank you.
All right, so there we go. Big J Bishop, otherwise known as Fear the Fun, out on the track. Gave us a nice bit of Twitter love before today's festivities. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it is at More on the Mic. Moore, 2 O's, Moore on the mic, ONMIC. Follow me there on Twitter. All the information about upcoming events, including the FM4 series and the 3050 series. And we'll have more on 3050 here at the conclusion of tonight's festivities. And there you go. There's another look at the Xbox app here. I don't know why, but my Forza Motorsport 7 game is really being finicky here. Every time I switch back and forth, it wants to close out. Well, we're getting ready for qualifying. There's the countdown. Countdown. Got the hiccups going. Weiss Lancelot there in the pit lane saying, "We going vroom vroom." Yes, you are, sir. Going vroom vroom indeed. Ether and Hunt telling T-Phrase, yikes, sorry, dude. T-Phrase again telling us that his batteries went out on him out there at Long Beach after running up there in third position back behind Cratrium. And here we go. First off the line, that looks to be D-Fire. It is. D-Fire off the line. Second is T-Phrase. Third is Cratrium. Out here at the South Circuit, the south end of the track, and I did mention there's a little bit of elevation change, and where it is right where those drivers were coming through, and now you start to head kind of slightly downhill, just ever so noticeable. It's not a lot of elevation change, but just to give you enough to get 155 horsepower rolling a little bit smoother, a little bit quicker than it normally would. And there's a loading screen. Unfortunately, that means maybe somebody's having some issues during qualifying. They'll still be able to race, but that'll put them at the back of the pack. Watch D-Fire get around, and now getting past him is T-Phrase, who's going to try to put down a quick lap here on the standing start. And we'll get two flying laps in after this. And that was Ether and Hunt saying whoop, Funtang on the podium. I forgot to read the message there, but yes, Funtang able to grab third out there at Long Beach. Funtang, without question, the hard charger week after week, and I don't know how he does it, living across the pond, stays up the wee hours of the morning here on what is a Wednesday morning for him, a Tuesday night for us here in the States, but stays up for Wednesday morning in his part of the world, and manages to knock his way through the pack. Now, he qualifies and for some reason finds himself at the back of the pack for qualifying, so maybe not the quickest in terms of hot lapping and qualifying, but able to turn it around when it comes to the racing aspect. And really, that is one of the more interesting facets of motorsport, is that you've got a lot of guys who, in Rivals mode here in Forza Motorsport 7 and in other time trial type events, both in the virtual world and the motorsport in the real world, those drivers are really, really successful at posting quick times, but then when you put them in the mix of other drivers, you have a whole different discipline that you have to take on. The passing and the, being mindful of where other drivers are and where they're going to line up to enter a turn and where you're going to go to either get around them or set yourself up for the next corner. It's a whole different approach, and look at that. Crate-Trim coming through with a quick time here at a 1:11.7. We'll see if that stands as Slaps Vela is back there in 10th position right now, and perhaps he had a dirty lap. And so Slaps Vela now recorded as, now in 10th. Well, actually, check that. Slaps Vela now with a 1:11.0, 7/10 quicker than Crate-Trim. It's just incredible. And look at him fly through the S's there. Insane. It's like this guy's been driving this car for eternity. He seems to know it so dang well. It's amazing. Approaching what would be the start-finish line here for the full circuit, the home of Formula One racing and Formula E racing here at Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina. Underneath that wonderful architecture, beautiful LED lights glowing on that building and reflecting right off the car, that Baby Bell liveried vehicle of Slaps Vela. And actually, Slaps Vela is showing 11th overall with the time of 1:11, so I don't know if that is a dirty lap or what, because right now it shows Crate-Trim having the best lap. So we'll have to see as we go into the post-race results. Again, this will conclude, and as a matter of fact, already has for some of our drivers. 3 laps of qualifying, Crate-Trim being one of them. And now Slaps Vela with a 1:10.5. Insane. And I have to imagine one of them is clean. I think maybe just the scoring there on the left-hand side of his name is glitched. Let's go ahead and take a look at those race results, and yeah, sure enough, it's a clean. No, it is a dirty lap. So Slaps Vela with a 1:10.5, albeit dirtied, means he's going to be at the back of the pack, sharing space with Funtang. And Funtang, I mentioned it, finding his way up through the pack in these races. He's going to have to do it again out here at Yas Marina, back there with Slaps Vela. And as a matter of fact, Funtang will be the backest of the pack there in 13th. Disco Joint unable to get that lap in, and actually, so that'll put Disco Joint at the furthest part of the pack. So Funtang will fit in there between Slaps Vela and Disco. And for the first, for the pole position, for our driver with the pole position, that's going to be Crate-Trim at a 1:11.7. Let's see if there's any drivers who want to chat before the beginning of the race. Let's see, what else do we have here in terms of times? We've got that one, well, that's Funtang, so that's no good. Fear the Fun with a 1:12. We talked to Funtang, or Fear the Fun, here before the race, and he said, I've got a lot of ground to make up. He's going to have to be scrappy for points here after having disappointing finishes there at Prague and out at Long Beach. He's got his work cut out for him. Crate-Trim, T-Phrase, we already talked about those guys. And let's see, D-Fire with a 1:16. T-Phrase actually not a great run at all with a 1:16.7. That's going to find him a little bit further back in the pack. So, very interesting grid order here at Yas Marina as the drivers go ahead and make some last-minute tweaks to the car before we get ready for those 25 laps, 1.47 miles underneath the lights here in Abu Dhabi. It's been great. Man, I tell you what, despite Slaps Vela's domination, that race out there at Long Beach was pretty darn exciting, especially that battle between Slow Motion Fire and CMD Slipstream. Look out for that battle once again. Ducati versus Kmart. The Blue Light Special versus the, I don't have anything else for the Ducati. The Ducati. That's going to be one battle to watch, but then let's keep our eye on Funtang. And then, of course, Crate-Trim. He's going to be on that pole position. Will Slaps Vela, who had a dirty lap during qualifying, be able to make his way through the pack and take down Crate-Trim? This is Crate-Trim's race to win right here. Slaps Vela saying in pit lane, or excuse me, in the Discord channel here for FM4, that being predictable makes you easier to pit maneuver to get past. So keep that up, says Slaps Vela. I don't know who Slaps Vela is talking to, but talking about doing pit maneuvers. We'll see what happens out here on the track. But waiting for that countdown, it looks like everybody is readied up, and slow motion fire there in the pit lane telling us here we go. Shadow Edge Media here live for Tuesday night racing. If you had maybe a crappy start to the week, well, we hope to raise things up for you and get you ready for Wednesday. If you've had a great start to the week, well, hopefully we're enhancing that. We're bolstering it that much more. Getting ready for race number 2 here in week number 2, season 27. Kick the tires and light the fires. It's going to be Cratrium, not Slapsfella, who is first off the line with Fear the Fawn on his opposite end. The south route out here at Yas Marina in the dark. Headlights are beaming, and here they go through the S's, minding the track limits here. Got to be careful. You don't want to cut the corners too much. Fear the Fun maybe a little bit too far into the inside of that second part of the S's. Cratrium holding on to it, though. It is Fear the Fun back there in second position. Behind him in third, that is Slipstream. Fourth is Slow Motion Fire, and wouldn't you know it, that battle between those two drivers, if that happens at the rakes of third and fourth, that's going to be a great one to watch. All the way to the finish, and there goes Fear the Fun to the inside, to that right-hander coming up to the left-hander. Underneath the glowing building here at Abu Dhabi. Cratrium out in front. No, there goes the loading screen once again. Not sure who we lost this time around. Maybe it was Disco Joint once again, but Cratrium and Fear the Fun, they're side by side, wheel to wheel, coming up to the right-hander. And then they'll cut through the infield, avoiding what would be the normal start-finish line out here at Yas Marina. And underneath that wonderfully built bridge. It's beautiful. I love the architecture out here at the track. And Cratrium now falls behind Fear the Fun, and Slipstream, they're in third position. It's going to be 1, 2, and 3 with Slow Motion Fire back there. I want to say ball hockey, but we're not playing football, we're racing. So he's just back there watching the pack to see what they're going to do. He's got his lights off on his car. Hopefully that doesn't hurt his visibility any. Fear the Fun now through the S's, and back there in second now is CMD Slipstream in the Kmart Blue Light Special. Through the left-hander, it's Cratrium, who's fallen back down to third position. Slow Motion Fire there in fourth. He continues to watch in that Ducati livery car. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is T-Fray. 6th is Born as Ghost. 7th is Slaps Vela, who's already made his way up through half the pack. Got to go fast in 8th. Futang in 9th. Weiss Lancelot in 10th. 11th is D-Fire. Disco Joint in 12th. Demos in 13th. So it looks like we've got all our drivers despite that little bit of a loading glitch. And there they go. They're too wide. Back from first all the way through fourth. And now Cratrium is falling back once again, and there goes Slipstream sliding it out. Some tires smoke and some sparks, but holds on to the Blue Light Special. Maintains second position. Fear the Fun just watching the chaos back there in his rearview mirror. Across the line they go for the start of lap number 3. What a great beginning to this one. Fear the Fun now darts off to the left-hand side, now returns back out to the right-hand side. Cratrium, Slipstream, they're side by side through the S's. Cratrium's going to take the inside line, Slipstream to the outside. Now Slipstream doesn't have any choice but drop back a spot, so Cratrium moves back up to second position. And look at this gaggle of cars, oh my gosh, all the way from first back to, it has to be 9th. And somewhere in there is going to be Slaps Vela, who continues. And actually, there is Slaps Vela in third position. He gets around Slipstream to the outside. He's going to have it coming up to the right-hander. And oh boy, that was quick. 3.5 laps. And Slaps Vela is already throwing jabs left and right, trying to take back his pole position, or the front spot, the lead spot where he has been for the last 3 races. My, oh my. Cratrium now looking at the back bumper of Slapsville. There goes Slipstream looking to the inside. Slow Motion Fire now, who's dropped back to 5th thanks to Slapsvella. Can do nothing but just kind of watch and see what's happening. $5 to take Slapsvella out, says Tezoris. And Tezoris, thanks again for that follow earlier on. And he's got the lull there in pit lane. Yeah, no bounties, please, but somebody. Again, I said at the beginning of today's stream, the onus is on everybody to find a way to keep Slaps Vela from winning. They didn't do it out there at Long Beach, and they're not succeeding out here at Yas Marina as Slipstream has fallen back to 4th. Slaps Vela moves up to 1st. Fear the Fun in 2nd. Cratrium in 3rd. Slow Motion Fire in 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for lap number 4.5. Oh my, this is already too much. 25 laps this one is. Don't mind the 26 up in the upper left-hand corner. That'll be just a celebratory lap for our race winner. And it's Slapsvilla who's going to try to make that happen. And already he's starting to pull away from the field. No dirty lap is going to keep him from coming back and winning this. It's insane. Tesaurus with the subscription.
Shake it back! Yeah.
Shake and bake. Thank you very much, Tesaurus. Tier 1 subscription. Thank you, sir or ma'am. Much appreciated. And if you are enjoying the racing action here on a Tuesday night, Shadow Edge Media live on Twitch TV, please click that follow button. Lets me know as the broadcaster that you are enjoying the stream. And we've got some great racing as it continues to be quite the pack from first all the way back to 10th position or even 11th. And so we've got a lot of racing to watch all the way to the finish, despite things looking a little bit spread out at Long Beach. The racing's quite close here at Yas. Got the fireworks booming overhead. The skyline of Yas Marina glowing and looking as magnificent as ever. And looks like Slow Motion Fire looking to the inside there of Cratrium No-Go. And now they start to form that single file train. So it slaps out there in front. Second position is Fear the Fun. CMD Slipstream in third. Cratrium in fourth. Slow Motion Fire in fifth. T-Phrase is in sixth position after a devastating loss of a podium position out there at Long Beach. He was running in third, trying to make something happen here at Yas, although he's got some very stiff competition out in front of him. Back behind T-Phrase is Born as Ghost in seventh. Eighth is Disco Joint. Foontang in ninth. Gotta Go Fast in 10th. Weiss Lancelot in 11th. Demos in 12th and D-Fire in 13th. Through the S as they go once again. Slipstream harassing the backside of Fear the Fun, getting them loose a little bit. Some tire smoke there. Fear the Fun probably thinking, ease up there, Slipstream, ease it up. And they'll stay in single file. Enjoy that Tesaurus got the Crash Dummy badge, subscriber badge for now. In that first month. Enjoy the emotes. And here comes Slipstream and Cratrium and Fear the Fun. And it's actually Cratrium who is watching Fear the Fun, and Slipstream goes side by side now once again. And here comes the blue light special to the outside. Now it's going to be the inside coming up to the left-hander. And Slipstream looks to have maybe a run. Nope. Yes, he does. Slipstream moves up to second position. Fear the Fun dropping back to third. And Cratrium now trying to reclaim a spot after having been out on the pole position for the start of this race. And Slow Motion Fire in fifth continues to just spectate. But he's got to be careful because he's got T-Phrase back behind him. And we saw that T-Phrase Slow Motion Fire battle back there at Prague. It was Slow Motion Fire who got the better of that one. And oh no! There goes CMD Slipstream into the back of Fear the Fun. Fear the Fun runs wide, almost up onto the wall. But he's able to recover and back out on the tarmac. And Fear the Fun now returns to second position. And I think Slipstream might have said, my bad. I'm going to let you have that one back. And so he does, and actually is going to give up third now as Cratrium moves up. Wow. Let's go ahead and watch this from the view of Slow Motion Fire. And now Slow Motion Fire lets T-Phrase go by. So Slow Motion Fire now running in. Well, he's now gotten around Slipstream. So T-Phrase is there, I think, still in sixth position, but Cratrium in third, Slow Motion Fire in fourth, Slipstream in fifth, T-Phrase in sixth. Seventh is going to be Disco Joint. 8th is Born as Ghost, and Foontang back there in ninth. Foontang not able to claw his way up, at least not yet, as they are on lap number 8 here. A little bit of a twitch it looked like there for Slow Motion Fire's car as he get ready to enter the S's, and he gets up on the curbing. A little bit uneasy the car was, able to recover it. He's got Cratrium out in front of him. Slipstream's going to run wide on the runoff area, bring it back on. A beautiful view there. You got the bay there. You see the nice luxury yachts. Enzo for the win says, I kind of feel bad for my dad because he is using a stock Xbox controller while 95% of these guys are using wheel rigs. Not true, Enzo for the win. 90% of these guys are using a controller as well. The minority are those who are wheel drivers, and I would even argue that Slaps Vela, I believe, is on a controller. So the majority of Forza Motorsport players are controller users, not wheel users, and even some would argue that the wheel users are at a disadvantage. So controller is really where it's at. But don't feel bad for your dad. He's getting out here and he's racing. He's doing a good thing. He's running his own race. He's keeping it clean, and that's all that counts. That's all that matters here in FM4. Sure, there's a champion at the end of it, but as long as you have raced clean and you're welcome to come back, I think that makes all these drivers champions, because until you get your nose a little bit dirty and you're starting to cause trouble out there, then that's when you get the boot. Let's go up to second with Fear the Fun, trying to hold on to it. Yeah, and Tezoris, they're saying, yeah, most of these guys are on controller, no doubt. I actually would be surprised if anybody is on a racing wheel right now at this point. I think for the most part, everybody is hand-holding a controller. Here comes Fear the Fun with two wheels up into the air, that right-hand side, passenger side of the 1965 Alfa Romeo D400 Performance Index. Here in Forza Motorsport 7, 155 horsepower, 128 foot-pounds of torque, and there goes Fear the Fun up onto the wall, just ever so slightly, 1,448 pounds of curb weight, and here comes Cray Trim knocking on the door. Back to Slipstream in fourth. Enzo saying, how? That's amazing. They look like they're actually driving the car. It takes a lot of, some of these guys have been racing in the Forza franchise for quite some time. You got to remember that the Forza series has been out for almost 15 years. So some of these drivers have a lot of stick time, but then in addition, even those who maybe they don't date back to the original Forza Motorsport title, even then, some of these guys have a lot of time behind the sticks in this game. It is obviously esports becoming that much more prevalent. Maybe not so much, we're not necessarily talking about just the professional level, but here, like I said, kind of like pro-am level, where you've got some drivers that are exceedingly fast, like Slapsfella, and then you've got some drivers that are very, very much a highly competitive, like Cratrium, Fear the Fun, Dark Sir, who's not out on the track tonight, Fuentang even. And these guys, they're just that good just because they've had a lot of practice and a lot of time. And then you've got guys who are learning. They're getting there in terms of their ability, and that's the beauty here of FM4. And now we're starting to see the field start to separate itself a little bit. Disco joint there trying to take down CMD Slipstream, who's fallen off the pace from second and third considerably. And so he's on defense right now. Disco joint having a good run after, if I remember correctly, not finishing, getting a DNF out there at Long Beach. Back behind Disco is T-Phrase in 6th, Soul Motion Fire in 7th, Born as Ghost is in 8th. And that's where we have all the racing from 2nd on back to 9th or 10th. Let's go to Slow Motion Fire there in 7th with T-Phrase. And I said Slow Motion Fire and CMD Slipstream are going to be the battle to watch, but Slow's going to have to catch back up after having fallen back a couple of places. He's going to run wide here off into the runoff area, trying to make his way around T-Phrase, who were battling it out. These two were going head-to-head out at Prague before Slow Motion Fire won that battle. Ether and Hunt traveling lock to lock. Controller has speed edge. Yes, with a controller, you're able to flick that joystick quicker than you can rotate a steering wheel. So that's one of the advantages of a controller, is that you can get these wheels, or you can get the tires pointed in the direction that you want much quicker than you can with a wheel. Sure, it's only fractions of a second, but really, in motorsport, fractions of a second are all that matter. There goes Slow and T-Phrase across the line for the beginning of their lap number 12. Let's go back up to third with Cratrim, who's trying to get around Fear the Fun. That Jägermeister car. Fear the Fun telling us just lack, not necessarily a lack of concentration, just a lapse of concentration. Just momentarily out there at Long Beach, spoiled his finish, and now trying to reap some points that he dearly lost in that first race here tonight, and then also back in the second race of week number 1 out at Prague. Didn't have so hot a finish out there either. My absolute pleasure to be broadcasting and commentating these races, the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series. I've been doing this for about 5 seasons, make that 4 1/4 seasons here, and I look forward to continue. But really, it's the engagement and the viewership and our drivers who come out here week after week that really makes it all worth it. And for those of you who are spectating, if you're enjoying the action, please click that follow button. Trim now a little bit off from Fear the Fun by 2 or 3 car lengths. Let's look back once again. Disco Joint is 4th. Slipstream has gotten away from Slow Motion Fire now by a good margin, and so he's got T-Phrase between he and Slow Motion Fire. So that battle that I was hoping was going to play out between CMD and Slow, not there yet. We still have about half the race remaining. Less than half the race remaining. Disco Joint heading back toward the start-finish line. Let's go ahead and give eyes to our leader just momentarily here. Slaps Vela in that Baby Bell car. Started at the back of the pack because he dirtied his laps at qualifying. Yes, he had the fastest lap, but got that pesky triangle next to it. Didn't make any difference, though. It only took about 2.5, 3 laps for him to move all the way up and get around Trim. And now he is leading this race. No contest. Fear the Fun, 2nd position with Trim back behind him. Disco Joint 4th, Slipstream 5th, T-Phrase 6th, Slow Motion Fire 7th, Born as Ghost 8th, Footang in 9th. Let's go to Footang. I was telling you about that unofficial hard charger award that Footang seems to get week after week here in FM4. Didn't have the best of qualifying here in this race, and as a result, he's paying for it, only having made his way up to 9th, but he still has some time to try to get around 8th, 7th, 6th, and maybe even to make a run for 5th. Born as Ghost, though, putting up a heck of a fight there in that jet blue Alfa Romeo. These are the 1965 Giulia Sprint GTA Stradales. Racing out here at Yas Marina. Join us next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 a.m. British Time, for week number 3, heading out to Catalunya in the school circuit for 35 laps. Then it's the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit laps. Well, a total of 12, and that's the one that T-Phrase back in week number 1 says, do not miss that race. One of the test and tune events that they had out there at Silverstone was apparently phenomenal, and so they hope to replicate that here next week. And again, that's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 a.m. British Time. Then it's week number 4 on May the 14th, and then the finale, race number 9 out at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, 45 laps. I love Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, my favorite track of the Forza Motorsport franchise, and to have 45 laps in these cars out there, it's going to be one heck of a battle. Be here for the next 3 weeks. You don't want to miss it. Then we've got more racing coming at you here this Sunday. We'll talk about that at the conclusion of today's activities. Let's go ahead and make our way back up to the front, where Trim has fallen back to 3rd position now. Fear the Fun. Well, actually, this is where these two have been racing, but Disco Joint, look at Disco Joint in 4th, starting to creep his way up. Let's go to Disco Joint, and then let's hop on board to have a look from his perspective as we do a lap around Yas Marina, heading into the S's. Ether and Hunt, Metallica summed up Food very well. Burning hard, loose, and clean. Yeah. Footang is Footang we haven't seen in a podium spot for some time, although he was able to pull it off there last race at Long Beach, so kudos to him grabbing 3rd. But Footang, I don't know if it's a game that he likes to play or what, but he puts himself back at the back for qualifying, and then he makes his way up to the mid-pack by the end of race's end. And unfortunately, that means that we usually don't have the camera on him, but by all accounts from the other drivers, just one heck of a talent out there on the track. And we're still riding with Disco Joint here, who's looking for a way around Trim and Fear the Fun, who are riding in 2nd and 3rd. Make that 3rd and 2nd respectively. down the straightaway. It's going to be a drag race between Craytrim and Disco. Disco's lining it up, but he's going to go ahead and get on the brakes a little bit early there. Craytrim was screaming by on the outside. Everybody being very mindful of the track limits. That's the thing about Yas Marina that we're especially mindful of. Forza race regulations coming to private lobbies here in May. Very excited to hear about that. More details about those regulations coming here in Forza Monthly this coming Tuesday, a week from today, May 7th. They're on the Forza Mixer and Twitch channels. And then Dan Greenewald, creative director at Turn 10 Studios, joining the crew on the set of Forza Monthly to talk a little bit about the next iteration of Forza Motorsport. Is it going to be Forza Motorsport 8? Is it going to be something entirely different? We don't know. The fact that the team has taken a year off, Forza Motorsport will not release here in 2019, really raises the eyebrow and raises questions about what the future of the franchise is going to look like. Dan's going to give us a little bit of a preview. I'm not anticipating a big reveal, but at least a little bit of a taste of what we can expect. And across the line they go for the start of lap number 18 out here at Yas Marina. It's been a fantastic race, well, it has been a fantastic race. It's been a fantastic couple of races with Long Beach just before this one, but this one is much, much closer in terms of the competition. Look at this, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slipstream bringing up the rear in 5th position. Back there in 6th is T-Phrase. Don't count T-Phrase out. If he can make a quadruple pass, I'll fall right out my chair. Fall out right out my damn chair. Headset rip off and everything. It would be insane. And there goes Disco Joint. Those drivers getting those two wheels up on off the ground. And there's a little bit of the rubbing. The rubbing is racing there, and Fear the Fun a little bit uneasy coming through the underpass section out here at Yas Marina, and they are almost 3 wide there. Craytrim. Oh, now Craytrim has fallen back to 4th, and now Slipstream there in the Blue Light Special looks to put Craytrim back to 5th. Very, very interesting here, 2nd through 6th. Look at this. Down the stretch they come, 2 wide, wheel to wheel, heading toward the S's. Almost 3 wide. Craytrim, it looked like he was considering it, but thought better of that move. Enzo says he's got to go. It was fun talk. Hey, great talking to you. And again, thank you very much for sharing the story about your dad, D-Fire, out here on the track. That's a wonderful story. Even though you say that you don't race here in Forza Motorsport 7, maybe perhaps we'll see you one day out here on the track, at the very least, here in our pit lane on the channel next Tuesday and for Tuesdays to come. Fear the Fawn to the inside. Ooh, cutting that corner a little bit too much, perhaps. It's a league of integrity, that's for sure. So maybe you do it once and then you say, okay, maybe I took a little bit too much advantage of that corner. Let me fix that next time by. And now Disco joined in 3rd, Slipstream in 4th. Craytrim has fallen back to 5th. Actually 6th even. T-Phrase has moved up to 5th. T-Phrase presumably on fresh batteries after losing a podium spot at Long Beach due to a controller disconnect. And here they come down the straightaway. T-Phrase. It was Craytrim who was looking to maybe make a run on the blue painted tarmac, and T-Phrase said, no thank you. You can stay back there in 6th. You're good there. Oral B, they've called him Big Tooth T-Phrase now. Out of turn 4, up to turn 5, then 6 here on the South Circuit, the South Route. Out at Yas Marina, we're closing in on the final 5 laps out here. That 6th lap will just be a celebratory lap for the victor, who it looks like, barring any sort of disconnect or what we would call then a vehicle malfunction, barring that, Slapsvella, the man of triangles, is going to walk away with the win. T-Phrase, getting some style points there with the Oral B. He said he's more of a manual toothbrush than an electric toothbrush, man. And right there, he was swishing that brush, man. He was like taking that and rolling it back there into the molars. Oh, that analogy just does not work well in racing, but it was the best I could come up with. And here they go, side by side, down the straightaway, coming up to the chicanes. It's going to be Kraytrim to the inside line, and he's going to have it. T-Phrase now dropping back to 6th position, back behind T-Phrase, but by quite some distance is Food Tank. Slow Motion Fire in 8th, Born as Ghost in 9th. Food Tank crawling his way back up through the top. Slow Motion Fire really wishing that he was back up there in that battle for 2nd through 6th, because he was in that battle for some time, but losing a little bit of concentration perhaps has moved him farther back behind. And here comes Slipstream now, 4th position, blue light special, and what an appropriate time for him to make a move. The lights are nice and blue overhead. The Kmart car, and there goes Fear the Fun off the wall. That's not the first time that we've seen Fear the Fun make use of the wall to become a little bit of a pinball effect. Comes back on, and there goes Disco Joint to the inside. What a lovely pass, getting around Fear the Fun's Jägermeister car, and that tab car of Disco Joint now finds itself up into 2nd position after having not set a qualifying time. He got disconnected from qualifying and is up to 2nd. If only Slaps Vela was within reach, this would be one heck of a race to watch between the two dirty lap drivers or non-qualifying drivers. Well, they did qualify, but they didn't qualify well. And now Fear the Fun going to try to get that position from Disco. They're going to go side by side, and look how beat up these Alfa Romeos are. These cars have taken a walloping. Ethan Hunt saying Food's qualifying issues are rooted in his momentum car style. He runs best loose, and when he tries to run clean for quality, he loses pace. Great insight provided there by Ethan Hunt. And oh no, there goes Fear the Fun, and he is way up off into the wall and in the, I don't think that's dirt. I think it's maybe just painted on there. Oh no, and there goes Kraytrim and Fear the Fun. They get into each other and into the wall. They both go. Now they drop back to 5th and 6th. Slipstream into 3rd. Disco Joint holds on to 2nd. T-Phrase now up to 4th position, and his T-Phrase going to be able to make a run for a podium spot here at Yas Marina if he can. That'll be one heck of a comeback story. Across the line they go for the start of lap number 23. 4 laps remain. Check that, 3 laps. A little bit hard on the brake, throwing some rubber down onto the raceway is Slipstream, and he is starting to lose sight there of Disco. You don't want to lose too much, although he is in that position where better to lose position to Disco than to give it up to T-Phrase. So you might have to just start playing defense at this point, but I wouldn't put past Slipstream to try to make a run at Disco, despite Disco really showing off some moves out here, going from dead last to 2nd. Let's go to T-Phrase. They're in 5th, and T-Phrase has now dropped back as Kraytrim gets around him. Fear the Fun's going to be looking to get back into that position. Oh, what a move by Fear the Fun! Although that's going to push him wide, and so T-Phrase is going to be safe for now in 5th, but you better believe that's not the last attempt that Fear the Fun is making out here on the track. Big J Bishop going bold into that final left-hander out here at Yas, and here they go, start of lap number 24. Man, what a running, and if this carries on into week number 3 there at Catalunya and Silverstone, we are indeed in store or due for some fantastic competition. And here we go, that Oral-B car of T-Phrase now making a run on Kraytrim, and he does it. Back up to 4th goes T-Phrase. As the meme goes, you've got to be kidding me. This is the changes of position from 2nd all the way back to 7th, maybe even 9th, have been more than I can count on 2 hands. And here they go, 4th, 5th, and 6th. T-Phrase, Kraytrim, Fear the Fun going in deep into that turn. They're 3 wide through the corner, back up to the start-finish line, and look at that. T-Phrase is so wide that he is up into the cones, and there they go, down the straightaway, and unfortunately T-Phrase got bullied in that corner, and now it's going to be Fear the Fun and Kraytrim side by side coming up to the chicanes. The white flag is flying overhead. Who's going to come away with 4th, 5th, or 6th? Second currently looks to be in the hands of Disco Joint. Slipstream looks okay for third. It really is this battle between the three for fourth, fifth, and sixth that is the most intriguing at the moment. Let's watch it play out. T-Phrase may have a trick up his sleeve after watching this, Fear the Fun in his antics. T-Phrase might try to replicate that. Here he goes into the right-hander. Now you got to throw on the brakes. There goes Fear the Fun onto the inside, over the curbing. And T-Phrase bumping door panels now with Crate Trim, and Crate Trim returns the favor to T-Phrase. Underneath the bridge they go side by side to the left-hander. Crate Trim has the advantage this time around, but we've got 2 or 3 more turns left. What's going to happen? Fear the Fun now really hard on the accelerator, starting to pull away, and now Crate Trim there to fifth. T-Phrase not going to be able to make it happen. It's going to be Fear the Fun fourth, Crate Trim fifth, T-Phrase sixth. Seventh is Footang. Let's go back to 8th position with Slow Motion Fire. Not his best run out here, but hey, it's a decent showing, and he's out there in front of Born as Ghost for 9th. Gotta Go Fast is on the opposite end of the track there in 10th. Man, what racing that was. And look at this, Gotta Go Fast and Weiss Lancelot. There goes Weiss Lancelot looking to the inside, and nothing for him. That's how these two will finish. Weiss Lancelot there in 11th. Gotta Go Fast in 10th. Looking further back, it's Demos in 12th. D-Fire in 13th. Oh my gosh, I think I've almost lost my voice. Too good. Too good that race was. And there you go. That's the closest that you will find Slaps Vela to any of these competitors since lap number 3. As he stops and waits for the race official to go ahead and take note of who finished where, and then he'll do his celebration lap around the track here at Yas Marina South at the night, or in the night. That's 4 races down here in season number 27, and Ether and Hunt with the 25 bits.
Shake and bake! Does that feel good? Yeah.
Shake and bake. I got to get myself another sound here on the soundboard on the Stream Deck. Got to make that happen over the weekend. We'll make sure we do. And Ether and Hunt now moving up to the 3rd position on the bit leaderboard. 292 right there behind Not So Tin Man and Combat Beast. And that'll get you a, well, I think you can get there should be a nice little bit badge for you there in the Twitch chat. Oh, I see. Because you're 3rd, you've got 3rd place. So you've lost your cone for the 3rd place badge overall. I like it. I like it. Thanks again for all your contributions here today. And there goes Slaps Vela. He's going to go off into the blue painted section. Really running it hard. And man, what this guy has done out here on the virtual racetrack here in FM4 is beyond belief. And I mean, really, this places Slaps Vela in Forza Racing Championship territory. Whether or not he plans to contend, we'll have to see. But the FRC, we should be getting word on that here sooner rather than later. I have to believe the folks over at Turnitin Studios are just waiting to sort out their Forza race regulation system to help bring down adjudication time. Slow Motion Fire is saying this replay is going to be a good one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As always here, Shadow Edge Media, we roll back the footage and we play it all back so that you all can take a look at it again. Even if you weren't able to tune in for the entirety of tonight's broadcast, you most certainly can watch the replay, or at the very least, you can pull this video up on demand over at twitch.tv/Shadow Edge Media. Go to the video tabs and look for past broadcasts. There you go, Slaps Bella with a 110.6. Again, doing quick laps, hot laps out there, faster than his qualifying time, which was a dirty lap. And actually, I think his dirty lap was a 110.5, so a little bit slower, but it was clean at a 110.6. You won't find anybody close until you look back there at Disco Joint in 2nd, and even then, Disco Joint, his quickest lap, 0.2 of a second off. Sure, that doesn't seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but after 25 laps, Slaps Vela was able to pour it on thick. Slipstream there in 3rd position. Fear the Fun in 4th. Crate Trim in 5th. T-Phrase in 6th. Footang 7th. Slow Motion Fire, unfortunately not necessarily the finish that he was looking for there in 8th. Born as Ghost in 9th. Gotta Go Fast in 10th. Weiss Lancelot in 11th. Demos in 12th. D-Fire back there in 13th. Let's turn to the driver's spotlight and see what everybody has to say about this one. Weiss Lancelot is going to be here in the driver's spotlight, finishing 11th position. Back behind, got to go fast. At least that's what the leaderboard tells us. Weiss Lancelot probably looking for a little bit better of a finish, but man, one heck of a race out there at Yas Marina.
Oh, absolutely. It was action all over the place.
When you're having your race out here in the FM4, are you watching what is happening, both obviously from your vantage point from your car, but then also do you have the broadcast pulled up? Is that how you know how crazy things were out there?
No, absolutely no. I was just looking at the map.
Okay, the map, yeah.
Just looking at it through the map, just seeing how the each person just separates each other, and then they come back, and then they start seeing the whole switcheroo of positions for a little while, and then they separate again. So even though I'm at the back, I'm just hearing it and then seeing it on the map as we go along throughout the race.
Talking with Weiss Lancelot here, finishing 11th, at least by our unofficial results. You entered week number 2 back there behind CMB Slipstream and just ahead of Fear the Fun by 1 point. It'll be interesting to see what shuffle is made here at the conclusion of week number 2, and of course, that all is determined by which week is the drop week at this point. Is this your, as I'm trying to think, comparing this against week number 1? Is this going to be your drop week between the two?
I might be considering it might be the drop week for me.
Okay. And so as we look ahead, if this happens to be the drop week, unfortunately not having the finish you'd like here at Yas Marina, looking ahead at Catalunya, we're going out to that school circuit, so no pit lane, only tire and fuel degradation is going to be in play. More of a concern about the tires than the fuel. But then Silverstone, you got to be able to turn things around and make a run maybe for top 5 on the leaderboard?
I'm hoping that I can. For these last 2 tracks, I'm not really a fan of. Nor do I really. I can never really get the hang of the last 2 tracks that we just finished. But Silverstone is one of my more favored tracks. So hopefully I can go ahead and dial down the tune on this car, and by following the faster guys as goes, I can probably catch up to them.
Yeah, what a curveball that you guys have in week number 3. Like I mentioned, the school circuit there at Catalunya, that track can't be more than a mile long. So a lot of laps to be had there, 35 as I take a look at the schedule. But then you go to Silverstone, only 12 laps because you're on the Grand Prix circuit. What does that do for your approach? Do you have to bring 2 different tunes in, or are you trying to find a balance between the two so that you don't have to switch up the car? You can get familiar with it in week 3 and be comfortable with it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say the second option. Lately, I've been trying to make a tune that goes ahead and plays well with both tracks, because I don't. I'm that kind of person that practices over and over again on that same tune, and then I switch something else, and it completely throws me off. So I'm trying to find that balance between the 2 tracks every time the new week comes in.
Very good. Talking to Weiss Lancelot. Hey, I was telling, I think it was Demos. Yeah, it was Demos. I was saying long time no chat. I think it's been a long time since you and I have had a word. So thank you very much for dropping into the driver's spotlight. Any words for your fellow FM4 crew, or just general thoughts on the race and what's ahead for the season?
Not really. I think most of the stuff that I wanted to say has already been said, and from the previous guys in today's race. So, hey man, just keep going how we going, and let's just have some more intense races for the whole season.
Right there with you, man. Hey, appreciate your time here in the driver's spotlight. Not best of luck to you in the rest of tonight, but we'll see you again next Tuesday, and best to you there at Catalunya and at Silverstone.
Thank you very much.
Oops, sorry, I apologize. I slipped on the trigger there. I dropped Weiss out of there, but saying thank you for being here. So appreciate that. And any other drivers who would like to join us here in the driver spotlight, you know what to do. Go to that queue for interview section. I was talking about the standings coming into week number 2. There was a look at what it was. Now, Slapsvella, obviously here in week number 2, is going to get another 100 points. So between the 2 of those, dropping 1 doesn't matter, and really, if somebody's able to dethrone him, usurp him from the lead position, then that week will be his drop week. But man, he's got himself set up nicely for his first FM4 championship here in season number 27. Back behind him was Cratrium. We're going to see how Cratrium fares on the points. SFM Darkstar, who did not race here this evening, he'll stay at 83 points overall. T-Phrase, unfortunately, had a shot at a podium there at Long Beach for the first race tonight. Fell short of that because of batteries running out of his controller. And then Slow Motion Fire, who was had 75 points, fifth overall on the leaderboard. We'll see how this compares to his week 1 finish and where he moves. And, of course, same could be said for everybody on there. So where you see the leaderboard right now, as it were, entering week number 2, that's likely to change or will change going into week number 3. So you make sure you want to tune in here 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. British time next Tuesday for week number 3. And again, that's out at Circuit de Catalunya at the school circuit, and then Silverstone at the Grand Prix circuit. Vastly different tracks there. You've got one that has a little bit of an elevation change, and then you've got one that is, I think there's not even you probably don't even go up or down an inch at Silverstone. It's so flat out there at that circuit. So great racing ahead, as we are not even at the halfway point. Of course, we will be there at the conclusion of race number 1 of week number 3. But for now, plenty of racing to look forward to. Will Slapsvella be able to continue the reign of terror that he has established here? My guess right now is going to be probably so, but won't it be exciting to see if anybody is, in fact, able to dethrone him? Don't miss it. Do not miss it. Tonight was a good indication of just how exciting it can be in these 1965 Alfa Romeo Stradales, even at D400 class with only 155 horsepower. Great stuff. You want more Forza Motorsport racing action? Well, we're going to bring it to you here this coming Sunday. We continue our test of the 3050. Don't know what that is? Well, it's pretty damn exciting. We have you show up on a Sunday. You don't know what car you're going to be driving. We'll let you know what vehicle division. Right now, we actually have a poll to determine what vehicle division we're going to be running in that second 3050 race. And you can find that over on my Twitter. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up so we can go ahead and link everybody to that right now. No matter if you're participating as a racer or as a spectator, the poll is open for everybody to weigh in on. Is this going out? Oh, looks like success. Hello, Twitch? Are you with me? Do. Elevator music, more elevator music. Okay, I think we're good. As I was saying, 3050. So you take those two division options, both the Classic Street and oh no, it's going back to red and it's back to green. Classic Street Muscle or Modern Hot Hatch. Go vote on my Twitter at More on the Mic. The link right there in the Twitch channel or the Twitch chat or the pit lane as we know it. Go weigh in, no matter if you're a viewer, a driver, or none of the above. Maybe you just want to weigh in and you don't plan on being there at all. Then our drivers will blindly select from the eligible cars from an on-screen user interface. They pick a number. We reveal what is behind that number in terms of the car, and that's the car that they're stuck with for 30 minutes of testing, tuning, and qualifying. We call it TTQ, and then it's 50 miles of racing out on the circuit against their best buds who are also in cars that they blindly selected. It's a whole heck of a lot of fun. It is motorsport entertainment. It's a motorsport entertainment experience that we're bringing here to Twitch TV. It's unlike anything else that you've seen. So be there or be square. 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. British Time. And again, that's this coming Sunday, May the 5th. Cinco de Mayo. Man, what a way to celebrate a fun little holiday there. Yeah, so this Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. British Time, 3050 test event numero dos. I got to bring my Spanish to that race. I got to bring my A-game Spanish to the Cinco de Mayo event. But, folks, that's going to do it for me. I better get off of here. I'm just going on and not making much sense. But thank you all for the subscriptions, for the bit donations, for the follows. and generally just being here and supporting the broadcast. And for those drivers who were out on the track providing us all this lovely entertainment on a Tuesday evening, I tell you what, this really brings up my Tuesdays after a day at work and makes going into hump day that much more exciting. So if you all get any more Forza racing action in, and actually before I close things out, let me look to the driver spotlight. Nobody is there, so we're good to go. If you get any more Forza Motorsport racing action in through the remainder of the week, or even racing in the real world, out on the real world track, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean until next time. And by next time, I, again, mean Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. British time. Take care, adios, and goodbye.